Egypt is famous for its pyramids, mummies, and statues. But behind these fascinating things lies some bizarre happenings that even the bravest of hearts will hesitate to think about. From ancient beliefs to practices, these are the top 25 bizarre things the ancient Egyptians did. 1. The human brains were pulled from the nostrils during mummification. Everyone is familiar with the fact that Egyptians used to mummify their dead bodies, separating different organs from the body before storing them up and burying them with the body. But what is very concerning is the method by which these organs are removed. The brains of the dead were removed by carefully inserting special hooked instruments up through the nostrils in order to pull out bits of brain tissue. This was a very delicate operation, one which could easily disfigure the face. After some parts of the brain are wrapped around this stick and pulled out, the other parts would be liquefied. How intriguing. 2. A cat must be mourned with shaved brows. Egyptians have long been known for their love for cats. They cherished these animals so much and hold them in very high regard because they believed that cats were carriers of good luck. Every cat owner treats their cats with so much care and respect, even till death. In Egypt, when a cat dies, its owner shaves their eyebrows as a sign of respect and mourning. They mourn the dead cat until their eyebrows grow back. It has been a thing for centuries, and some people believe that it is still practiced today. 3. They used spoilt and moldy bread to heal wounds. Ancient Egypt has long been known for their resourcefulness and brilliance, so when their method of using moldy bread to heal wounds proved to be effective, it wasn't a surprise. It is not clear how they knew it would work, but this method of healing wounds is effective because the mold in rotten bread produces a certain chemical compound that kills or suppresses the growth of bacteria around the cut, scratch, or open wound. This method has proven to be so effective that it even serves as a precursor to penicillin and other antibiotics used today. 4. They made their toothpaste. Humans generally care about their oral hygiene, and the ancient Egyptians were not left out. They were the first to invent their type of toothpaste. They mix bull hooves, ash, and burnt eggshells, grind them into powder before applying them to the teeth and gums to enhance oral hygiene and stop offensive breath. The record holds that this was very effective. 5. Toothbrush. Just like they did their toothpaste, they made their own toothbrush from branches. They also manufactured what they called chew sticks and toothpicks. The long branches would be cut from trees and washed and then designed to have a duo usage. One end as a brush and one end as a toothpick. 6. Mint candies. Ancient Egyptians were really invested in their oral health as they found a way to get themselves mint candies for the betterment of their oral hygiene. They boiled herbs and spices such as frankincense and cinnamon mixed with honey. The mixture can be chewed or sucked on, and it served as their own version of what we call gummies and candies today. 7. A pouch of mouse bones were tied on infant's neck. Ancient Egyptians believed that when a child falls sick, a fast and effective remedy to that sickness is having the mother of the child eat the meat of a mouse and then putting the bones in a pouch tied to a rope. This would then be used as a talisman for the child. It would be hung round the child's neck or waist. This method is also used to treat the problem of bedwetting in children. 8. 4 shared organs. When a wealthy person dies in Egypt and mummification is set to take place, 4 vital organs of the body are separated and kept in separate jars before burying it with the dead body. These 4 jars represent the 4 sons of Horus, and they all have different heads as jar covers. The jar with a baboon head is used to store the lungs. The jar with the human head holds the liver. The jar with the falcon head holds the intestines, and the jar with the jackal head holds the stomach. 9. They used honey to keep flies away. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs hated the presence of flies, and to avoid them, they made their servants drench themselves with honey while standing close to them so that any fly coming towards their direction would focus on the honey-drenched servant and allow the pharaohs to have their peace. 10. both male and female wear makeup. Egyptians have always had a fondness for makeup. In ancient times, they manufactured so many of them from scratch. Their favourite was the black coal that was used to paint around the eyes. These cosmetics were available for both males and females, unlike our present world. They also believed that makeup had healing powers. 11. Children remained naked till teenage age. Little Egyptians from birth were recorded to live their childhood years running stack naked. They were only qualified to wear clothes when they got to their teenage years, when their reproductive organs have now begun to be more protruded and more effective. 12. A pharaoh's head should not be seen. Egypt, pharaohs were always careful of their appearance. Some of the parts of their body were never meant to be seen. One of such parts is the hair. Pharaohs did not leave their hair flying around. They always wore a headdress which they called nemes. These headdresses were not cheap. 13. Ancient Egyptians wore wigs. The wigs worn in those days were expensive, so only the wealthy could afford them. The wigs worn by the elite served a dual purpose. They signaled high rank in Egypt's strict social hierarchy and helped protect shaved scalps from the sun. Back then, shaved scalps were a sign of nobility. Wigs also helped maintain hygiene levels by reducing the incidence of head lice. Because of the price of these wigs, the not-so-wealthy Egyptians wore pigtails or let their hair be. 14. Boys shaved all their hair except a single braid in the middle. In the time of the ancient Egyptians, young Egyptian boys shaved their hair to show nobility. Their hair is shaved round with a sharp blade. A single braid, however, is left in the middle. This served hygiene purposes and also a way to prevent hair lice. 15. Ancient Egyptians were as erotic as they were spiritual. At the beginning of the 19th century, a local farmer stumbled on an earthenware vessel near the Valley of the Kings, and upon breaking it, the vessel contained a new find that changed a lot of things. An 8-foot-long scroll that has been over 3,000 years old revealed the depths of how erotic ancient Egyptians were. 16. Crocodiles are mummified and used as food in the afterlife. Ancient Egyptians mummified crocodiles alongside the bodies of wealthy people, although they always skipped one process, which is the application of raisins. It is believed that by mummifying crocodiles, the person buried with it would have enough food to eat in the afterlife. Those crocodiles are also used in the reincarnation process. 17. Female pharaoh wore fake beards. Ancient Egypt is well known for their gender equality, but sometimes these rights do not extend to the female rulers. A female pharaoh named Hatshepsut, who was the ruler in the 18th dynasty, felt the pressure. She was one of the only 3 female pharaohs. Hatshepsut decided to do things a little differently. She began wearing fake beards to appear more masculine. Pictures and statues depict her carrying these fake beards. 18. Beer and bread as currency. Beer and bread were a big deal to ancient Egyptians. They were so big a deal that they preferred to be rewarded with it other than being given money. Traders used it as a form of reward for the value they gave. They also saw it as a high form of sacrifice to the gods. Some even think that 10,000 workers who combined efforts to build the pyramids were paid with beer and bread. What a juicy salary, right? The ancient Egyptians loved this combo so much that if they came across a season where they weren't able to produce enough resources to prepare this duo, they took it that the gods were angry at them and they needed to make peace offerings to calm them down and ask for forgiveness. 20. Advanced tattoo culture. Tattoos are a common trend right now, but according to records, ancient Egyptians were rocking them just fine. They always tattooed mummies. They were also used for living people. At first, just women would have dots and stripes on their chests, thighs, and abdomens. This was not just fashion, but also prayers to gods. Pregnant women wore them more as a prayer for protection and safe delivery. With time, these dots gave way to the shapes and figures of gods. This was a way of praising these gods and goddesses. Tattoos then became a gender-neutral thing. Before the process of drawing a tattoo begins, a ritual would be conducted where a flat brush would be crafted, then an odd number of needles attached to it, usually 3, 7, or 9. These numbers have meanings and meant a lot to the ancient Egyptians. 21. Ancient tombs had toilets. Researchers found toilets in different tombs built by the ancient Egyptians. It is believed that these toilets are kept there to give the mummies a feel of a normal home. Some say people buried in the tombs use it to ease themselves. Do you think that's true? We might never know. 22. The heart is the only internal organ left in the body during mummification. As discussed before, during mummification, different internal organs are extracted from the human body, but not all. The heart is always exempted. This is because the heart is believed to be the seat of the soul, and if taken out, the soul would be lost forever, and reincarnation would not be possible. 23. Ancient Egyptians used stones as pillows. Ancient Egyptians made use of curved headstones as pillows. It is not certain how comfortable this was for them, but it was a thing. 24. Baboons were trained to be police officers. We have talked about the ancient Egyptians' love for cats. Now let's talk about their activities with baboons. Baboons were trained to be police officers. Because of the high level of training these baboons get, they were always seen with a leash to restrict them from harming just anyone. But once a there or lawbreaker is spotted, the leash is removed and the baboons are pointed to their direction. Once the baboons get to them, they proceed to grab them by their legs before holding them down or pulling them towards the human officers. In addition to this, baboons were trained to collect fruits. They were also trained for entertainment. They trained them to dance and present on different occasions. How beautiful is that? 25. Bathing sour milk. Ancient Egyptians, including the last pharaoh Cleopatra, used sour milk, specifically donkey milk, to take their bath. They did this to enhance their skin appearance and health. It is still not known how they knew about the properties of sour milk, but this is effective because sour milk contains lactic acid, which is an alpha hydroxy acid. Such acid exfoliates the surface of the skin so that new and more evenly pigmented skin cells can take their place. Now, you might be wondering how many donkeys are needed to produce enough milk for one bath. Well, in Cleopatra's case, 1,000 donkeys were required daily in order for her to take a bath. Crazy, right? The practices of ancient Egyptians are numerous, and some are not available for public consumption because of how grave they were. These practices and beliefs are what made them stand out, and for a long time, would continue that way. With that said, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching to the end. Let us know in the comment section what you found to stand out in this video and what practice gave you chills. Also, like and share and subscribe. With that, we will see you in our next video. Bye.